guys, I welcome you back to Global Education Zone, and this is the Crash Excel Formulas course. And today in this episode, we are going to be dealing with the cells um, and ranges. So basically, we want to talk about cells and ranges. A cell is basically a um, a distinct proportion of the screen where you can enter data in Excel. So Excel is not like Microsoft Word where you just have a plain worksheet, a plain work area. You can just type in any portion. But in Excel, you type in distinct and separated portion. It's kind of like a separated portion, and this portion is unique in that it is the basic unit of cell. So unit of Excel rather. Now you know that in living organisms we have the cell as the basic unit of living organisms, but in Excel we have these cells are the basic unit of our spreadsheet. Now basically let's talk about these cells. What are they and what can we do with them? Now let's start with each of these cells. Let's talk about their names. So these cells they have unique names. Some episode ago, I talked about the name box, and this name box you can see it right here. So this is the mouse button. You can see it. Hope you can see that the mouse button is now enlarged. So this is the area where the name box is. So you can see the name box here. Now this name box it is the area of Excel interface that shows us the name of the cell which we are in. So now this cell we can see that it is C4. But how did we get C4? Like what does C4 means? Like now, this C4, it is a compound name that is gotten from the name of the rows and the columns. So before we understand cells, we need to know what rows and columns means, right? Now, when we talk about the rows are vertical, that is from up to down. So the rows are numbered from up to down, whereas each row runs from left to right. So the rows are actually horizontal, but they are numbered from up to down. Now, a row is called a horizontal length of that of the Excel area. So you can see that this is the highlighted area, this is the row. You can see it goes from left to right. It keeps going, keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. In fact, I don't even know how many rows are in Excel. Maybe thousands of rows. We also have this row 2. So this is for the first row. Then we have the second row, the third row, the fourth row. You can see that each of them they go from left to right. So from left to right. Then for the fifth row from left to right. So each of them they are always going from left to right. That is one property of rows. Now these rows they are named in numbers. So this row 1 it has a number of 1, row 2 has a number of 2, row 3 has a number of 3, row 4 has a number of 4, row 5 has a number of 5, 6 has a number of 6, and so on and so forth. So it goes on, goes on, and goes on. So now you don't need to worry about exhausting the rows available for you. So as far as I know, this is a course for beginners in Excel. So as a beginner, I don't think there will be any reason why you should be able to exhaust. But let's assume you are a nerd and you are so interested in trying a lot of things in Excel. Even if you exhaust the rows, you can also go to a new sheet. So this is sheet 2, this is sheet 3, sheet 4, sheet 5, and so on and so forth. So these sheets, there are different aspects and they make up a workbook. So in case you exhaust the cells in your sheet, which is by the way unheard of, you can also go to a new sheet and also link that to your first sheet. So there are a lot of possibilities in Excel. Now these rows they are numbered while the columns they are lettered. So these columns you can see them, this column A, column B, column C, column D, column E, column F, so on and so forth. These columns they run from up to down. They are actually vertical arrays of data. So they are vertical lines of data. So this column A, for example, is runs from up to down. You can see the data here is on one vertical region. So when I go to column B, I have it on the second vertical region. Column C is on its own unique vertical region. Now, one way we can describe cells is when you have each of these vertical regions intersecting with a horizontal region, it gives a unique region. So it is kind of like linear programming in mathematics, where you actually you draw two inequalities, and then the region of one of the inequalities intersects with region of another, and they give you the solution of your programming in mathematics. So that is mathematics, but I promise I'm not digressing. It's just kind of like an analogy. Now, basically, for example, if we go to the fifth row, which is row 5, and then we intersect it with cell 3, so I'll actually select both. So if we intersect row 5, and then now my hand is on the shift button on the keyboard. Now that is because I want to select both at the same time. Now if we intersect row 5 with cell, or with column C. So this is what we get. So at the middle of them, this row 5, when you go to the right, and then you intersect row C from up to down, they will meet at this cell. So this cell is called C5. You can check it out in the name box. This is the name box. My mouse is hovering over the name box right now. So this is the name box here. So at this name box, you can see that we have C5. So that C5 is the unique name of this particular cell. So that is where we get the naming of cells from. So for example, if you go back to this area now, this area here, so you can have this area here. So now in this area here, we want to know the name of this area. We don't know what the name is. So if you want to know the name, you can actually look.
It's 8 o'clock.
This is the column is column E. Then now when we trace it to this horizontally to the edge, we have 3. So this is E3 here at this intersection. So when we confirm that at the name box, you can see that it's actually E3. So this is E3 at the name box. So now that is where we get the nomenclature of cells. I've spent a lot of time explaining that. And let's move on to the actual cells themselves. Now these cells, they are used for containing data. For example, if we have names, I have a name on the this column. We have a section of this column is devoted to names, and then let me devote another this next one to scores. Now imagine I have different scores like 14, 20. Okay, now I don't want this kind of. So if I wanted to do this, I'll just select the cell and press the backspace on the keyboard. Now I don't like the way the data is being entered, so I want the scores in numbers though. So I can actually correct that. So numbers should be in numbers. Yes. So now I want to have a score of 30, and then so this percentage shouldn't be there. Percentage now. English, United Kingdom. Okay. I could even turn into currencies anyway. So let me have the scores in percentage this time around. I'll correct that anomaly in another episode. So we have 79% for Maxwell. We have 56%. So all you need to do is just type in the percentages. So now first of all I will just type them normally. So you can see that it is actually changing them to decimals, which I don't want. So but I will actually acquiesce for the meantime. So I can change that when I'm done. Oh, that will be too low. That happens to be my name. So let me give you the high score of 98. Now you can see that this one is in percentage and the other is in decimal. So I will just take out a little bit of time to explain, to demonstrate something. Now select each of these cells with the combination of the shift key and the arrow down. So now all I need to do is I'll just click on percentage, and bravo, everything is in percentage now. So that's how to change your data types. Now we have each of these scores in percentage. You can also be specific by you can add a parenthesis and say in percentages. Okay, there was no closing. That hasn't been closed. So I can just kind of, I don't want to edit my data. So I will just click on this. You can see that this data here is extended to the right, and it is not what I want to do. So first of all, let me add the closing parenthesis. So I'll correct that now. Now it has been entered. You can see that this data has passed this column B. You can see this it's extended now. It doesn't affect the data you are going to enter in column C. That's if you are going to enter any data in column C in cell C1. So this intersection of C and row 1. So but we can correct that by just taking the mouse button to this B to the right side. That is the side we want to extend, and to change to this this, let's call it this navigation cross. Then you can just drag it, drag to the right till it covers your text. So you can see I've done that, and finally it has dragged. So the reason why this data is in the right is because they are values. Now these are values, and they are always right aligned. So values involve numbers and so on and so forth. But this one, they are not values, so they are left aligned in by nature. So but you can also change the alignment. You can change the alignment of each of data. Now there are a lot of things you can do, and we'll be talking about that in the next episode. We'll be dealing with formatting of data in cells, but today let's just focus on cells and all the rest. Now basically, this data is in the cells here. Now when we talk about cells, we can also talk about ranges. Now, the ranges are the regions, the combination of cells. Normally in Excel, your ranges are combination of adjacent cells, a group of adjacent cells. So, for example, if I want to select the range, I just start from the first cell. So, for example, if I want to start from all the names and their scores, so I can just start from the first cell I see, and then I can basically use the select and select this second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Now this is fair enough. It's a good way, but it's not good enough. So this is actual slow method of selecting a range. So the best way is just take your hover around the first cell you want to select, then drag it till it gets to the last cell. So bravo, this is the easiest method of doing this. Now we can see that we selected this range, and not that's not all. We can also name this range. So we can name this range. So let's name the range. We can go to the data. So we want to name this range actually. Now let's go to the view. In Excel, you can't just leave a range of cells like that. You have to be able to name them so that you can actually have a unique names for them. So now these names, this is what is showing in this range in this formula bar. So I don't want that name. Let's call it scores Maxwell. So I've changed the data from name to scores. So I can change it back to names. So that's how you want to change it. It's possible. You can also change your data in cells by using the formula bar. So, but normally formula bar is used for naming the formulas and for checking the formulas. But now this range, let me select the range again. Assuming we wanted to assign a unique name to this range, so there's actually a way of doing that. So we can, I'll check the format bar to the home. Most of the time we have various options in the home menu. You can go to the insert. We could insert a table into this range. So if we wanted to deal with table, we would actually need to specify the headers and so on and so forth. We're talking about that in a subsequent um, cell review, so on and so forth. So we have the name normal. I'm actually looking for the name. I'm trying to name this. So that should be in the data normally. So let's start connections, so on and so forth. We could also make connections between each of these. So those connections, maybe that would involve a name. What if we group them? Could group them. So now this we've grouped them already. Now this group, it's going to be selected on its own. If we check the groups, so you can see this group. So we've grouped based on the rows. Now we can also ungroup. So I will select the range again and ungroup based on the rows. So it's back to the normal. So the reason for grouping it is probably when you want to deal with those cells in um, in a formula, you want to actually perform a single operation on them at once. You can also make use of that group function. So basically, that's on cells and ranges. Now these ranges, you can also perform a range of functions on these cells. We'll be talking about formatting of cells in Excel in the next episode. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching.